You're listening to Tassie Encounters Moments on Faith FM, and we're coming to you from Tasmania, right across Australia. Each weekday at 9 a.m, you can hear what the Bible says about past, current and future events. You can learn how to study the Bible more effectively. You can get to know who God is, why we're here and where we're going. And you can experience personal encounters with Jesus. I'm your host, Jason Cook, and today we have Nick Kross back in the studio. And we're continuing our theme on Tassie Encounters Moments this week of the journey of adolescence. Welcome, Nick.
It's great to be back in the studio again. Thanks, Jason.
Yeah, it's good to have you back. Now, yesterday we had three big questions on our program, although I don't know that we really emphasised them. But those three questions were, who am I? What is my purpose? And where do I belong? Do you want to just give us a quick recap on that as we go into our program today, where we're going to unpack this idea of individuation? That's a new word for me.
Yeah, we would love to think that as our children are growing up, that they have a healthy sense of their identity, they're happy with who they are, and they're happy with the way they've been raised up. We'd like them to think that they have a solid purpose in life and that they're going somewhere. We'd also like them to think that they belong in their bedrooms with all of their posters on the wall, their ribbons from their races and their basketball in the corner, that they're at home, that they're safe and they have a sanctuary. That's the ideal.
Because now, it's not just at home, though, is it? It's also in the wider space of their life as well.
That's right. When they mix with their friends, when they go out on Saturday night, when they are at church or in their social networks, we want them to feel comfortable and happy with the people that are around them. They're accepted and loved.
Absolutely. Cool. So today we're going to unpack this a little bit more, and I know that you're going to share with us the fact that over, say, the last 100 and 150 years, life has changed quite substantially in the way adolescents grow up.
So that's very true, Jason. So basically what happens is, for most of the history of the world, a young person reached puberty, and they say that adolescence starts in puberty and ends in culture. So for most of the history of the world, young people would reach puberty in their mid-teens, maybe 14.5, 15 years of age. That's a global statistic. Average. In some countries it was slightly higher, some slightly lower. So before they reach puberty, they're seen as a child. But then very quickly, once they reach puberty, within 12 to 18 months, they're seen as an adult by the society, by their family, and there's reasons for that. Primarily, once they were big enough to start working, a boy would be out in the farm with his father, or if his dad was a carpenter or a stonemason or a fisherman, that boy was out there earning, digging for food, bringing food into the family, and for most families, you spent the entire day just getting through with enough food for the next day.
It was really about survival.
It was survival, and the whole family was involved. The girls, of course, would be helping their mum. As soon as they're big enough, they'd be cooking or cleaning or washing and doing whatever it is that mums had to do, keeping the fire going. So very quickly, and also the other thing I didn't mention was that they got married early.
And so I don't know that you mentioned the ages, but puberty might have been around 14 and a half, and then by the time they were 16, a young man would be working, they'd have a job, they might even be married.
Correct.
Yeah.
So they're assuming responsibilities of an adult very early in their life.
Much younger than today.
Much younger than today. And so over the last sort of 150 years, coming through to the 80s, the age at which young people reach puberty is dropping. Today it's about 11.5 to 12 years of age globally. In fact, some young girls are having babies as young as 7 years of age because they're reaching puberty way earlier than they used to. There's reasons for that: good nutrition, hormones in food, just lots of reasons. But the other end of the scale is the culture. And so a lot of young people are not necessarily identifying as mature adults until they reach their early to mid-20s. And there's reasons for that as well. And as we've talked about why they were seen as adults earlier in history, suddenly that process is stretched right out. Our government told us a few years ago that children had to stay at school till they were 17. which meant 12 years of formal education. My parents never got 12 years of formal education. My dad left school in year 7, became a carpenter. But children today stay through until year 12. And then often young people will go to university after they've finished school.
That's exactly what I was about to say. I know with my son, he stayed at home, my eldest son, he stayed at home until he was finished university, and I think he stayed about another year until he was married, and then he left. So, yeah, it's and my concept as a parent was that if they're studying, they're my responsibility, to look after them, to feed them, to house them, and what have you. Once he was finished university, my oldest son, the rule was, okay, you've got a job now. You can pay some board. You can, take care of your things. You can do your washing. You can do that sort of thing. So, yeah, that was my idea. I don't know if that's a healthy idea, but that's how I treated things.
Well, I think it's very true today that young people are not financially contributing to the family until they're in their early 20s. And in fact, there's people, like in Australia, the average is around about 50% of young people will go on to some form of further education after they leave year 12, whether it's a TAFE course or tertiary. After World War II, the percentage rate in England was 3%. So 97% of young people either got married and had children or worked in the trades.
In the trade, yeah.
And so we now have got this extended education period. And of course, young people today are doing a master's, sometimes straight out of uni as well. They'll do an undergrad degree, go into a master's program. So there's another 2 or 3 years. So they could be looking at 22, 23 before they're actually earning money. And, of course, as well, the need to get married has really dropped away. Young people today are not racing towards the altar anymore. The average age for girls in Australia to get married is about 30, and for boys it's about 32. So that whole decade of the 20s is almost seen as a kind of a party decade where we just enjoy ourselves. We'll go overseas, we'll go to London, we'll go to Canada and do a ski season, or we'll go just travelling. I'll just become a child of the world.
And then you hear that phrase, eventually I'll get married and settle down.
That's right. That's right. And look, I'm not knocking that. I think that's a reality. The travel opportunity is fantastic. It's a great way to expand your universe. But a lot of young people see themselves as kind of like senior adolescents as opposed to being, you would say, a financially contributing adult. Mind you, they can join the military at 18, they can drive, they can vote, they can go to a pub at 18. So the country recognises them as an adult at 18.
Yes.
But many young people are still playing the boy. And they say that women reach their adulthood in their mid-20s, boys reach their adulthood in their mid-40s, but their toys get more expensive.
That's it.
So,
yeah. Now, life is a little more complicated often these days. Families are a lot more complicated often with multiple step parents and all that sort of thing. And then I guess you've got the transition from adolescence into adulthood. There's got to be some building of skills or something to, like, I know when I was a parent, my eldest son in particular, I remember consciously thinking about this from about the age of 14, 15. I was thinking, okay, I've got 4 years to make him into an adult. And I was thinking about that, okay, and as that went on, I was giving him more responsibility and making him make more decisions for himself rather than me making the decision for him, because, consciously, they're legally an adult at 18. I was preparing him to be able to, if necessary, be his own adult by that age. As we navigate these things, you've got a point here about the level of skills needed to become an adult. Is it becoming easier or harder?
It's becoming more difficult. The level of skills that are needed today, even for a year 12 student, the level of education they're expected to do, the assignments they're given today, are way more complex than they were 20 or 30 years ago. But if to get into the right university, to get to the right career, you need good literacy skills, numeracy, computer skills, conflict management skills, financial management skills.
Time management
skills, all of these skills are actually on the increase. There's a competitive market out there. There's a lot of people applying for jobs today in Australia, and we are in a very competitive market. But there was some study done by a guy named James Comer in America, and he found that the amount of adult ongoing support given to the average young person today is on the decrease. So while the skills needed are on the increase, the amount of time that a father spends with his boy in the shed fixing a lawnmower, or, going fishing, or a mum spending with her daughter teaching her how to cook and just do whatever they want to do, is on the decrease. And so these trends have actually caused a problem in that there's a gap between the kind of mentoring a child would have had back in the day and what they're actually getting today. And James Comer said that these two trends have created a serious problem in our country, indeed a crisis. And so we recognise that young people actually need help. They need support as they're growing up to become an adult.
And so how do we do that?
So there's a few things we can do very quickly. The first thing is to offer social capital. Social capital is any time that we spend with a young person, learning their name, asking them what they did over the holidays, just being in sync with them, in proximity with them. How you're going at school, what's your sport, do you enjoy soccer? Just learning about a young person and letting them know you care. That's one thing. The second thing is social scaffolding, and that's any skill or ability or quality or talent that you can share with a young person. And that can be things like teaching them how to play an instrument, teaching them how to fill out a tax return, how to fill out a university entrance, job application, use a map and compass, cook food on the stove. Anything you can teach a young person, the more social capital, the more social scaffolding, the less chance they have of getting into at-risk behaviour. The less social capital and social scaffolding, the more at risk they can be.
That's really fascinating. Just spending time. So time is one of the big things, and then sharing your skills and knowledge with them in a way that I guess is not forceful or pushing it on them, but helping them to get or gain those skills that they need to do life.
That's right.
I guess you might even call some of those things life skills.
Life skills, absolutely.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, we've got a bit of a personal challenge or a question that we didn't do yesterday. Well, I forgot to do it, but the question is, how are you nurturing and encouraging a young person? So this is, if you're a bit of an older person, maybe you're a parent or even a grandparent, how are you nurturing or encouraging a young person? We challenge you to think about that. Or perhaps you're a young person listening to this, and we're going to ask you, how can you learn from somebody who's perhaps older than you? How can you connect with them and see someone as a mentor? So if you'd like to share your ideas, text us in. Or perhaps you've got some questions, you can text us in on 0488 88 0891.
This program is made possible by the support of Adventist World Radio.
Our free book offer for this week is called Hope for Today's Families by Willie and Elaine Oliver. There is hope for you and your family. We live in a challenging time. Our lives are saturated by information, activities, and senseless expectations. The stresses of modern life make healthy relationships more difficult to achieve and sustain. Couples and children live under the same roof, but communicate poorly at best. It reminds me of a whole family sitting around on their phones instead of talking to each other. Many want the stability of a strong family life, but don't know how to attain it. So this small book can help. Its ideas and solutions come from ancient wisdom, but are as relevant as today's news. That's our book offer for this week. Text us in TEM21, TEM21, no spaces. Text that into 0488 880 891. That's our book offer today. So do text us in. Tomorrow we're going to be looking at candles burning. Remind me of what that's talking about.
So multiple candles are what we term when young people have a form of multiple selves, where they're one kind of person with the family, but another kind of person on Saturday night with their friends.
Okay. So we're looking at trying to form a coherent identity, I guess. Yeah. Okay, so join us tomorrow. And as we go out right now, this is Who Am I by Chosen Road. May you encounter Jesus more today and each day.
Who am I that the Lord of all the earth would care to feel my hurt? Who am I that the bright and morning star would choose to light the way from my ever-wandering heart? Not because of who I am, but because of what you've done. Not because of what I've done, but because of who you are. I am a flower quickly fading, here today and gone tomorrow. A wave tossed in the ocean, a vapor in the wind. Still you hear me when I'm calling, and Lord, you catch me when I'm falling. And you told me who I am. I am yours, I am yours. Who am I that the eyes that see my sin would look on me with love and watch me rise again? Who am I that the voice that calmed the sea would call out through the rain and calm the storm in me? Not because of who I am, but because of what you've done. Not because of what I've done, but because of who you are. I am a flower quickly fading, here today and gone tomorrow. A wave tossed in the ocean, a vapor in the wind. Still you hear me when I'm calling, and Lord, you catch me when I'm falling. And you told me who I am. I am yours. Not because of who I am, but because of what you've done. Not because of what I've done, but because of who you are. I am a flower quickly fading, here today and gone tomorrow. A wave tossed in the ocean, a vapor in the wind. Still you hear me when I'm calling, and Lord, you catch me when I'm falling. And you told me who I am. I am yours, I am yours, I am yours. Whom shall I fear? Whom shall I fear? 'Cause I am yours.
This program has been made possible by the support of Adventist World Radio.